I am delighted to be joined by Wendy and Paul today. Thank you so much for sitting in the presenters' hot seats today. Wendy Sullivan and Dr. Paul Field, you are presenting at the NLP conference in 2024, and we're delighted to have you joining us. And your subject for your presentation is Exceptional Integrated Coaching with Psychoactivity. I managed to say it. So do please start by telling us a little bit more about yourselves and your presentation. Oh, we can't hear you, Wendy.
Oh, you've got your microphone up, Wendy.
Sorry. Okay, tiny bit about me. I'm a coach and psychotherapist and NLP trainer. I've been doing all of those things for a long time. And I've been training people to use clean language for 2 decades. A co-author of the book Clean Language, Revealing Metaphors and Opening Minds, which is being bought by an awful lot of people apparently. I'm a chapter author of Clean Language Interviewing, which is a fairly new application of clean language. And I do all sorts of things work-wise with Paul.
Yeah, so I'm Paul, and thank you for inviting us along, Karen. I'm a certified clean language trainer and assessor, so I do a lot of things with Wendy. My one-to-one work, I do some general coaching, but also specialise in using sort of embodiment, bodywork and trauma-informed approaches, which is helping women reconnect to their bodies after sexual trauma or difficult relationships. And actually some of this embodiment type of work is where some of what we're doing in the conference presentation kind of comes from. Together with Wendy, I think one of our big things is we run Clean Change Community together, which is actually about giving everyone this kind of ongoing path of development. So everything from, I don't know anything, right up to exceptional skills, and doing it sort of with a weekly training. So you kind of never feel like you're falling off the cliff of training. There's always people to support you and support your learning. That's something we've been very passionate about, supporting people in that way and building up recently. So yeah, so very excited to bring our presentation to the NLP conference.
So tell us a little bit more about it.
Good. Well, one of the things we've I guess noticed over the years is at a fundamental level, different clients respond to different approaches when they're making a change, and it's not always obvious what you might do with a client or how you work that out, particularly initially. But what we found, there's some sort of quite big players in like the fundamental universal ways of knowing the world, and what you discover actually is a lot of the tools people use, these ways of knowing are present, and they really help like clients to make a change organically. So what we've found is one of that's metaphors, so working with like symbolic world. Another one is space, so can be moving in space or using space to lay things out. Embodiment, so bringing attention to the body, sensations, emotions, what's happening there. And parts, which is like almost your social brain, so understanding yourself as if you were a number of different people or entities or somehow inside. And they'll crop up in lots of other tools, and they crop up in NLP tools. But if you take them to their kind of fundamental level and help clients to pay attention to them in particular ways, that there's a huge amount you can do. And we think really exceptional coaches are actually deploying all of those approaches and integrating them, and possibly even, which is part of what we're going to do in the session, using all of them at the same time.
Oh, multitasking.
Yeah, and that does something very interesting that I'll let Wendy talk about.
So it's good of Paul to let me talk about something, isn't
Absolutely.
it? So the point with these kind of fundamental big players and of potentially deploying more than one of them or all of them simultaneously is that you massively increase the chances that the client will experience psychoactivity, by which we are meaning that sense where one's inner world starts to be more alive, more vivid than your actual physical surroundings. If one can support a client to have that experience and to keep that experience going, then they develop a really multi-sensory anchor that will be easier for them to re-access afterwards, will be motivating if it's in relation to their desired outcome. And so it and will set a train of events happening where the change sort of just seems to happen. It's not that they're needing to push and shove and try to make things change.
Yeah.
It's kind of supported by the way that they're experiencing in that moment and potentially subsequently. So it really increases the chances of long-lasting change happening, and happening in a way that's, as I say, not effortful.
Yeah.
So,
sounds wonderful. So,
indeed.
what practical learnings will delegates take away from your session?
Well, what we're going to do, we've been a bit ambitious in the session, but fortunately you're giving us plenty of time, because if we're trying to integrate sort of 4 different ways of working. So in the session, we're going to go through our 5S model, which is putting together those different approaches and then guiding people through actually integrating all 4 and doing that simultaneously. And what we're hoping is everyone's going to get a chance to experience psychoactivity, hopefully for themselves, certainly seeing other people having some psychoactivity, so they really get to sort of see and feel how that can make a change for clients. So what we hope the takeaway is that more opportunity to create it in client sessions, know when it's happening, so keep it going, and that's going to create much bigger transformation for clients. I think understanding this model, and there's these different ways of approaching things, will hopefully give people some more flexibility with clients, so they're more able to see what a client can do well and maybe sort of steer things to that in a more elegant way. So that means get more effective sessions, less resistance from clients because it's more their preferred way to do things, and really trying to give everyone a sense of being able to flow with your client's experience, not just like, oh, I've got a collection of tools, which is the next one to do to my client. More like, can I be with my client, but notice their experience? So I'm steering a bit, but they're leading it. And that really helps, to actually not have very much resistance in clients to create their own organic change. So that's, hopefully the delegates will take some of that away.
It sounds like a beautiful, we're all going to learn a beautiful dance.
I hope so. Yes.
Wonderful. So is there anything that delegates can do beforehand that will either give them a sort of a deeper experience during your session or a deeper understanding of your session?
We have got some ways in which people could just become more aware of the approaches we're going to be focusing on. So they could read Clean Language, Revealing Metaphors and Opening Minds, to get a sense of working symbolically, working with symbols, with metaphors. We've also got recordings of previous conference sessions, video recordings that people could watch to get more of a sense of working with the body, more of a sense of working with parts, the inner parts, which we call personas. So those would be some ways in which they could just get more up to speed beforehand. We've also got some tasters that we're running, and those are complimentary, so there's no charge, and we don't really know how to do marketing tasters. We only know how to teach people stuff. So, it's solid learning about things to do with the body or with symbolic, working symbolically, that we'll be doing over the coming months as we approach the session. So those are some ways people could get engaged.
That's wonderful. So, so what inspired you both, Wendy and Paul, to want to present at the NLP conference?
Well, I think a big thing is we've presented before, and it's always a great experience, and it's always really knowledgeable, engaged participants. I think we learn a lot putting everything together as well. So I think just fantastic learning experience all round.
Yeah, we think that what we're offering with this session could be really useful to people. I'm still I still clearly remember getting towards the end of master practitioner training and thinking, I've got all these tools. I have no clue which ones I would use when, but I'll get to the end of the course and then I'll do myself a big diagram that'll help me to work it all out. And I sat down with all my tools and my paper to do a big diagram, and I got nowhere. And I think that's probably a common experience of, I've got a whole pile of useful tools here. Which one am I going to pick first?
Yeah.
Which one might be most useful with the client that I have in front of me? And we're reckoning that what we're doing in our session can potentially be really useful for helping people get a bit more of a sense of what to consider foremost, and then they can bring the other tools in as and where they need to.
Wonderful. And of course, the added bonus for delegates this year is that, or in 2024, is that Wendy and Paul, you are not only presenting at the virtual conference, you're also exhibitors this year. So anybody who is coming to the live event in May at the hotel, they can come and talk to you even more about your session there. So it's a sort of a double whammy for everybody attending. So
it would be brilliant.
Yes, absolutely. So just to remind everybody, Wendy and Paul are presenting at the virtual element of the NLP conference, which is on Saturday, the 10th of February at 9 o'clock, nice and bright and early. And then, as I said, as exhibitors, you'll also be able to meet them in person during the May part of the conference at the Sheraton Skyline. So thank you so much, Wendy and Paul, for taking time to be with us today and explaining a little bit more about your presentation.
Good. Thank you for inviting us. Yeah, wonderful. Looking forward to doing it and meeting people in person as well. That's going to be great.